When I push myself to these new limits, I definitely get these like this crazy endorphin high. It makes me want to just keep coming back for more, like more and more. It's almost like a drug. It's addicting. So introduce yourself. Hi, I'm Kyle Bush. I'm a mechanical engineer full time. I went to Robert Morris. I do content creation on the side for social media. My mission is to like motivate and inspire others to be more healthy and fit. I also am a photographer, videographer on the side. Like to create, and yeah, that's me. All I do is work out pretty much. On a scale of 1 to 10, how authentically are you living right now, both on and offline? It's a good question. I would say probably 9 out of 10. Honestly, I try to be super authentic, and I've even had people come up to me and say like, hey, I love like your vision. I like what you do, and you're very authentic. Like I even celebrate the wins and I celebrate the losses. You like social media is all about like the highs, but the part of life everybody has lows. So like I feel like that's one thing that is part of my mission. Like top three, I try to be authentic in who I am. Like so, I'd say 9 out of 10. You recently ran 26 miles with your friends to celebrate your 26th birthday. Happy birthday. Thank you. Talk to me about your community. Are you selective? Has it taken time to build your circle? It's a good question. My community, I'm not selective. Um, like I told you, my mission is to inspire and motivate everybody and anybody. So whether you can run a mile or you can run 50 miles, there's people that are way better than me, and there's people that are, I would like to say, below me, I guess, in life. And I can inspire both those types of people. I've had people that are, way stronger, way faster, way more professional, way more successful, even say, hey, like, you really get me going some days. So, are you selective? No. I just, no matter race, religion, skin color, your passion is, like, I want to be there to, make you a better human the next day. Has it taken time to build your circle? Yes, because my circle has been built off of what I'm passionate about. And, I used to drink and party and go out on the weekends, and I was kind of half ass about my fitness and like my goals in life. And I feel like that was the type of energy and people that I surrounded myself around. When I really started like taking my goals seriously and becoming sober and really being passionate about my fitness goals, that's when I started losing like long friendships. And it sucks, but that's part of life. Like if you want to go far, like sometimes you have to lose those type of friendships. And although I've lost friendships, I've gained better ones. So you're an engineer, hybrid athlete, photographer, and content creator. How do you balance the different parts of your life? Which parts are you most passionate about? How do I balance the different parts of my life? It's a very good question. This is always something I wanted to address on my social media because that's a good question people ask me all the time. I guess motivation and dedication. You know, I also like to say failing to prepare is preparing for failure. It's one of my go-tos because if you're not prepared, you will fail. So, how do I balance these things? If I got something going on, I work full-time job, so if I'm working 8 to 5 or whatever it is, and I have an evening full of things that I have to do, whether it's laundry, cook dinner, meal prep, haircut, whatever it is, social life, hang out with people, then I get out of bed at 5 a.m. and make sure I can get my workout in before work. So with that, I make time. That's often I hear I don't have time. You can make time no matter what. Whether you're up at 3 a.m., whether you stay up till midnight, there's 24 hours in the day, and there's plenty of time to, get what you need in to, reach your goals. So on the topic of balancing my life, it is tough. It's very busy because I try to train twice a day and I work full time, and I'm trying to be very present on my social media, editing content, shooting content, go and work as an engineer all day, which fries your brain, you know, and then training like a pro athlete, and then traveling on the weekends and going competing as an athlete. And it's tough, but I love it. Like, it just keeps me busy, and I feel like there's been times in my life where I've had some depression seasons, and those felt like because I was sitting still. You know what I mean? Like, if I keep myself moving, chasing something, I'm happiest. So my message is just to keep moving, and there's always enough time in the day. Which parts are you most passionate about? The more and more I dive into my fitness goals and the social media aspect, I'm starting to lose passion in my like full-time career. It's gonna, like, I keep telling myself I'm gonna like eventually run into the situation where I'm gonna have to pick a path to go down, because it is hard to balance everything. And a lot of people told me like if I would give up my full-time job as an engineer, that I would go further with my social media and creative side. And even as an athlete, I'd be able to put more time into training. It's just very tough because I know how hard I worked for my degree, like going to college, and just the money too is there to make me like feel comfortable and safe, where I can like do everything else that I want to on the side. So I know if I would switch over, be like a very tough financial switch to like start, but it might end up being a better way in the end. So yeah, I'd say like I'm very passionate about like my fitness and my fitness goals and what I do on social media, and I'm a little less passionate about my full-time job. It's that one. When did fitness become an important part of your life? What fuels you? Um, so in college, I grew up wrestling. I wrestled from when I was 4 years old until I was a senior in high school, so 14 years. So it's a big chunk of my life, about half my life. So I was always brought up through fitness. College, I was always working out, exercise and moving my body, but I was still partying really hard and like didn't take it all that seriously. Graduated college, and my buddy was never exercised in the gym, nothing. And he's like, came to me, he's like, hey, I want to make a switch. I need your help. I said, yeah, just come with me to the gym every day. I'll teach you everything you need to know, and I'll help you, reach your goals. So we made it kind of a habit to go every single day. Me and him were meeting at Planet Fitness, going every single day. He was learning, he was seeing progress, he was falling in love with the journey. And that's where that kind of helped me, like, I was building routine, and I was also like starting to create a diet where I was like eating properly and seeing more progress from that. But I still wasn't like fully like locked into where I am now, I'd like to say. I'd say a couple years after college, then I started like really taking it serious. But at first I was just like bodybuilding, like just strictly lifting, and I had never ran before. And a guy from work was like, "Hey, you should come run with me someday." And one day he took me out on a trail run, and I made it like 2 or 3 miles, and I was like, that was the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. Like, I started walking in the middle of it, and I want to say this is probably like 3 years ago. And I think that was the first day I like fell in love with running, because it was hard. Like, that was the hardest thing I've ever done. So started running. Still wasn't like fully like focused on any goals. So started running, seeing how it was helping me in the gym as a bodybuilder. It was like my sets were going longer because I had that muscle endurance, and it was just changing my body. I was starting to lose body fat and starting to look actually leaner. So I'd say, and then about a year ago, I started running a bunch of races, signing up for random races around Pittsburgh, running them. And then I met a kid at one of the races, and he's like, "Hey, I'm training for this High Rocks." And I was like, "What is High Rocks?" And he's like, told me it's like a CrossFit competition. I'm like, "Oh, that's cool." Blah, blah, blah. He's like, "You should come to this gym." So I went to a gym, went through this workout, and again, it was like the next hardest thing I've done. So I'm like, wow, I like fell in love with that. I'm like, I need more of this in my life. Signed up for a High Rocks, competed in one, and I was like, that was insanely hard. So then I started really taking my fitness goals like super serious, and my diet was super serious. And then I started like locking in with like being sober. Like, at first I was like experiencing like going out. It was like a dry January month. I did kind of like a challenge just to see, and I went out, and I would go out with my friends, and I would see that like was still the same person. if not better. I was still social, and I just wouldn't drink, and I would drink a cranberry Sprite. And it just like actually, I realized I could be the same person and still have just as much fun without consuming alcohol. And the next day, I would feel like $1,000,000 and could still chase my goals and be more productive. And in that month, it just showed me like, wow. But after that month, I went back to drinking and kind of just did it like once a month, whatever. And then eventually, after a couple months, I just was like, all right, I'm gonna like give it up totally. And then it's been history. Like there's no need. Like like a year and a half almost sober, and I'm like, what's one beer gonna do for me? I'm just fully focused on my goals, and that's not going to get me there. And the community and the circle that I have now, like those type of people don't do that stuff, so that's not even the question. I guess we'll go to the second question. What fuels you? Two things. Just becoming the best version of myself, like being better than I was yesterday. It's kind of like what I tell myself every single morning. Like, and eventually that compounds and you just keep moving forward and upwards. And then just other people, like I post a lot of social media stuff. I'd like to say like might be for me, but like it's more for others to see. Like, so you fuel me. Like anybody that follows my journey fuels me because I want to show them that anything's impossible. Anything is possible. um, what is your mission? Why do you do what you do? I kind of touched on that. Do you want me to repeat it, or?
How about we change this question?
Yeah.
What's your biggest goal right now?
What is my biggest goal? Well, right now I'm currently training for the Pittsburgh Full Marathon, and I'm trying to run a sub 3:15. So I guess that's the goal on the radar. Um, I got tons of goals, though, tons of little goals. I need to break a sub 5 minute mile this year. Ran a 5:04 last year, so close. I want to squat 3:15, sub 60 solo high rocks. So with high rocks, there's two like divisions. There's like open and pro, and open is like a lighter weight, and pro is just a heavier weight. You can sign up for both. It's just pro is extremely hard. It's just heavier weight. So I'm chasing two different times for the open and the pro.
What about with content?
It's a good question. My current goal right now is to just try to put something up every single day, but not like just put it out there just because I need something out there, like something good. Oh, 20, I want to like chase 20,000 followers this year. So, not followers, friends. 20,000 friends is the goal. Oh, another goal with social media is like I want to like land a bigger brand deal, like maybe with like Brooks or like clothing or shoes or apparel or something along those lines. I just landed a brand deal with Transparent Labs. I don't know if you ever heard them. They're a pretty big supplement company, so I have two pretty big sponsorships with supplement companies right now. Um, but I really want to like work on more partnerships, especially to like meet other people, like because these like companies, they build teams of like social media people and content creators, and I feel like they put on like events, and like eventually I want to be invited to these events to collab with other influencers or creators and just meet people. I love networking, so I think that addresses that one. Talk to me about the mental side of being an athlete. What does it feel like when you push yourself to new limits? It's a good question. Mentally, it can be tough. Like there's some workouts every day that are like that I can look at and I'm like, wow, this is gonna suck before I even start it. I try to go to these High Rocks classes every Saturday at Total Pursuit in Zelienople, and basically every class that I go to like pushes me past my limits. And not only that class, but like when I compete in these High Rocks, I like find a new version of myself every time because my mind, like I'm human. I hit barriers too where I'm like I don't think I can do it, and I end up doing it. When I push myself to these new limits, I definitely get these like this crazy endorphin high. It makes me want to just keep coming back for more, like more and more. It's almost like a drug. It's addicting. Definitely some like self-help, like, some days it's probably a little softer, like, Kyle, you can do this, or some days it's like David Goggins side, like, who's gonna carry the boats? type stuff. But I want to say my mind goes a lot of times when things get tough. It's just like my gratefulness. You're able to do this. There's people that can't do this. I'm glad this question came up too, because I'm gonna, keep that in my mind for next time. When it does get hard, I can be like, wow, that's really where it does go, you know. But yeah, mainly just self help, like trying to push through things, talking to myself, and being grateful that, and just saying like, hey, there's people that can't do this. Like you have this opportunity, so sometimes when I'm doing like, running 26 miles, like it was hard, but I'm like, there's people out there running hundreds of miles. Like, what is 26 miles, And maybe my mind's not able to run 26 miles, but I know my body is. So definitely just have to push past that mental barrier and just trust my body. If your wildest dreams had already come true, what would your future self tell you to stop holding back? Probably to just chase my passion, like whatever I'm passionate about right now. Like I had mentioned earlier, like I'm more passionate about like content and social media and my fitness goals, and not so much about my full time career. And I'd say probably give up that hard thing, that full time career, and chase those other things that you're passionate about. So, but sometimes I think I'm like, okay, like these side things are, hobbies and I'm passionate about them, but like if I made them my full-time career, would I still be as passionate about them? You know what I mean? Like I was passionate about engineering at one point, and then now it's my full-time job, and like, you know what I mean? So I like being a photographer on the side and shooting things on the side, but like if I were to make that my full-time job, would I still love it the same way? Those are questions that come through my head, but there is only one way to find out. What is the biggest lesson life is teaching you right now? What are you learning to love about yourself? The biggest lesson life is teaching me right now is probably just to be grateful for where I'm at in life. Like I said, not many people can do the things that we all can do, and put yourself in uncomfortable situations as much as possible. Just like I said, coming here today, talking in front of the camera makes me uncomfortable. So I was like, this is a perfect opportunity. I want to do this so bad, because it makes me uncomfortable and it'll allow me to become a better person. So I guess what the biggest lesson life is teaching me is, yeah, to put yourself in uncomfortable situations. What are you learning to love about yourself? As much as people probably think I love myself, it's probably the last thing. So I'm learning to love about myself that um, I actually do like touch people in different ways through social media and through my journey of not only fitness, life, holding a full time career, which is what I do. Sometimes I don't think I do, but there's people that come up to me in person, reach out and say like they really watch my stuff, and that maybe it gets them out of bed, whatever it does, it touches them in a way. So that's something I hold dearly. How has it felt to be seen in the hot seat? Any takeaways? Any final thoughts? It's been full of emotions. It's been great. I'm glad I took this opportunity. Probably my biggest takeaway is it had me question things that pop up in my mind, but I've never actually sat there and thought about it and spoke out how I felt, whether it's the path that I'm taking in life, what I do, social media, full time career, photography, whatever it is. But it made me, kind of realize like, wow, maybe I should start thinking about those things more. Maybe look into them, maybe take a jump on other things in life. So that was an eye opener, and I'm glad I can, take that with me throughout life, because you never know where I'll be in a year, and maybe I can say that was because of the hot seat. You know what I mean? So it's probably one of my biggest takeaways. Any final thoughts? Probably just want to say thank you for this opportunity, and I'm glad I could be here and give my message, and I hope that through the both of us that we can create a cool message here and touch other people's lives. So
Thank you, Kyle.
yeah.